Hey boss, if you haven't seen Billie Jean is Marketing in your newsfeed or in a pre-roll ad on YouTube, you might be living under a rock. Seriously, he's everywhere. And it's with good reason. I mean, he did call himself Billie Jean is Marketing, so he's kind of synonymous with it. I am so happy to share this full interview with you. I went to Billie Jean's office recently in San Diego where he was interviewing me, and I decided to turn the tables and actually interview him. And yes, we talk about marketing tactics, specifically paid advertising and how to start from zero. But more importantly, we dive into the deep stuff. We talk about how Billie went from $50,000 in debt after his first failed business venture, moving back in with his parents, and now having a multi-million-dollar global brand. Billie Jean is one of the top online influencers, educators, and practitioners in the world. Through his one-of-a-kind online courses and Facebook live streams, he is revolutionizing the education system by teaching important and necessary entrepreneurial skills that schools just aren't teaching. He spends up to $200,000 a month on his personal brand, leveraging unique video content and ads on billboards, podcasts, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. With 22 world-class employees, his ads agency has worked with some of the world's largest franchises and is sought after for their repeated, proven success in turning clicks into customers. I wanted to share this entire interview with you, and yes, it's a little bit different than most of my videos on my channel, but I think it's important that you see every single piece of this because we dive into so many important parts of the entrepreneurial journey, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We talk about the winning mindset that you need to have when it comes to being an entrepreneur, the difference between success and happiness, how to hire a team, really the number one secret to hiring a great team around you, and a whole lot of online advertising tactics when it comes to paid, and I touch a little bit on organic. So without further ado, let's dive in. The Sunny Show. Just a little warning, if you are around kids or are offended by swearing, there is some colorful language, a lot of colorful language in this episode, and I chose not to bleep it out. We're here with the one, the only, Billie Jean is Marketing. Welcome to the Sunny Show.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
I am so happy to have you
I'm going to cut you off right now.
Oh, no.
I've met a lot of people
God.
in this industry. Like a lot. Like all the people that are followed and shit and spoken a lot of stages. In the short interactions that we've had together, I really fuck with Sunny. Can I cuss?
Yes, you can.
I really enjoy Sunny because she's tactical. Like, you guys are listening to Sunny, and there's so many people who like will hit you with just like the motivation or just like all this like woo-foo stuff of just manifest your future and shit. And there's a place for all of that, but strategy is missing right now in the entrepreneur space as far as like what to do step by step. And so I'm a big advocate of that. And I know Sunny is too, and like she's just a beast. So like I don't really put my stamp on many people, so I just want to stamp the shit out of Sunny. So like if you next time you see her, she probably has stamps all over it. And I put those there. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. And that is a really high compliment coming from you.
Woo!
And I know you've talked to the best of the best in the business. Like name some of the people that you.
Last person that was sitting in the chair that you're sitting in right now was Damon John.
Wow.
Shark Tank. But there's, I've gotten to meet a lot of people, like all the people like the Ty Lopez's, the Gary Vaynerchuk's, the Lewis Howes, a lot of the, of friends, and obviously they're all badasses too.
Of course,
they do what they do.
But like that's why it's such a high compliment. I wanted to add that context in there. That's why it's such a high compliment.
So it's like name drop real quick. Let them know how big that is.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you this from the moment I met you, and we haven't even known each other that long. But same here.
It just feels like it though, right?
Feels like it. Feels like
I'm going to their wedding.
Apparently. Somewhat invited yourself to my future wedding, which is,
100%.
I'm not engaged, guys, so I'll tell you when that happens. But I've been wanting to ask you this from the moment I met you, and I'm so curious, where the hell did Billie Jean is Marketing come from? How did you proclaim yourself as that?
As marketing?
Yes.
I guess, ironically, I manifested it. Nah, it's actually a fucking stupid story.
I bet it's not.
Well, I was living at my mom's house because that's what all great entrepreneurs do.
Yes,
You
they
start
do.
at mom's because she's cooking and stuff. And I kept seeing this director getting recognized and blowing up and like being the talk of the town and stuff. His name was Tyler Perry.
Oh yeah.
You know, everyone knows Tyler Perry because he does like every black movie ever, and like that's his thing. So, but I was like, I still don't understand like how you know a director's name. Most people don't know the director's name unless like a James Cameron or Quentin Tarantino, something like that. And I kind of reverse engineered it. And every single movie that he created, he titled Tyler Perry Presents. Tyler Perry presents blank. Tyler Perry presents blank. And when a studio gets behind a movie, they allocate millions of dollars to advertising. They give you a giant advertising budget. So now they're literally advertising his name and he's getting it for free. So I was like, holy cow, he like made himself to what he is today. And as a result, his net worth is over $500 million. And I saw this outside looking, I was like, holy cow. And then at the time, in marketing, it was like in digital marketing specifically, it was always these like corny, like older dudes who like had no personality and they were super stale. And I'm like, yo, like this needs to change. Like entrepreneurship should be cool. And I've always had a passion for like showing minorities a different way to be successful other than sports and music. So I saw like entrepreneurship is that thing that like, yo, this is really cool too. You can impact people and all these other things. So I just saw Tyler Perry, everyone knows his name. That's the key to having a high net worth is being recognizable and having a brand and having influence. So when I was coming to the marketing game, I'm like, no, I don't want anyone to not associate me with marketing. Like and there was no name on it. Like almost, when you think of soda, you think of Coca-Cola or Pepsi. When you think of video games, you think of Xbox or PlayStation. When you think of marketing, there's you. Exactly. So I saw the whole, and I was like, if we can just take the title, then that opens up the world. And that was it.
So let's start with living at your mom's house. Let's bring it back. Hey, I've done it too. I think it's important to show the journey. So we call the audience, they're my bosses, and be your own boss, build your own life is the tagline. And that's what I want to show that journey for you, because I'm in your office. I came in here and I was like, holy shit. This is a big office, a lot of staff. Just on your video team alone, you have 4 people. 5 people.
6, yeah.
Wow. So how do you go from mom's house, I'm assuming solopreneur at that point,
Yeah, for sure.
to massive office, huge staff?
Well, you go to mom's house because you have a mobile oil change company that did not do good, and you go into a bunch of debt, and then you were living at friends' houses,
How
and then
much
you're
debt?
50 grand,
Wow, okay.
and then your car gets towed, and you literally get desperate. And you know, my parents were mad at me actually at the time because I didn't finish college to chase this entrepreneurship, and so we didn't talk for years. And so finally they let me back into their house, but it was out of desperation and embarrassment. Like I was in my mid-20s or early 20s, and at the time I went to the University of San Diego, so all my friends were like in finance and accountants, and they were like doing these things. They were buying houses and shit, and I was like living back at my mom's house. So I remember going out with them specifically, one, never having enough money to like buy the round or drink. So like when it was round, oh, Billie, it's your turn. It was like, they would skip me because they knew I didn't, you know, I couldn't have it like that.
Doesn't feel good,
But then the worst part that really made me feel bad is when I would meet girls and I'd be out and I'm like hollering and stuff, and they're like, hey, like, you know, where do you live? That comes up. And I'm like, oh, you know, I got my roommates.
Yeah,
I got my roommates. Like, you know, you don't want to say it, but like the reality of the situation was my roommates were my parents. And like, so it was pretty, you know, at that point, you just have to accept the truth of I was an entrepreneur, but honestly, I was a loser at the time. And I think that's hard for people to recognize is like, you have to call your L's.
Yeah.
I was losing. I was doing something wrong. I was off. I was learning along the way, but I was in a bad place. So anyways.
Can I just want to pause right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull you. I'm gonna pull you. Just pause it right there. Really hit that point home. So you call yourself a loser, and it's actually funny when you said that. I had this visceral reaction to be like, no, you weren't a loser. You're not a loser if you're living at home with mom and dad, because you want to like protect yourself, and you don't necessarily want to own those losses. And I think there is so much rah, and there's so much like you can do anything, believe in yourself, like you're gonna have the Ferrari one day, you're gonna have all the things one day, but everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's okay to admit it. And the faster you can accept it and be like,
then you can deal with it.
Then you can face it head on, as opposed to
Exactly.
being in that denial of like, I'm just gonna be motivated and that's gonna get me going. Like the motivation is not what's gonna get you going. It's the action that's gonna get you going.
When you're in those dark places in entrepreneurship, no matter how successful you are, you come to those dark places, it makes them easier to cope with. Because you realize, yeah, I'm losing right now, but it's temporary. It's not my forever. And that's why I try to remember, like, damn, Billie, you really fucked up. So that I don't belittle and I can truly learn from it. And that's kind of it. So anyways, long story short, I'm skipping a bunch of stuff, but there's other stuff you don't need to know about. But I learned about this thing called Facebook ads. And I learned like 5 or 6 years ago. And before anybody was allowed to advertise in the news feed, like I saw that feature get unlocked. And no one was using it for local businesses, dentists, chiropractors, gyms. And I was like, okay, well, let me try to run advertisements for this. And long story short, I blew up. I remember the first gym I worked with, I brought them 123 leads in one day. And this company told me, I charged them like $1,500 and they go, hey, you know what, Billie, they canceled the last second. We were supposed to get started that day. They sent me an email and said, we can't move forward. We just hired a manager from Equinox, one of like the bougie gyms in LA. And they said that they tried Facebook ads and they don't work. So at this time, 5 years ago, it's like 6 years ago. So like no one was hyped on it like this. And so I was like, I sent an email back and I was desperate. I needed the money. I was like, I can't be at my mom's house anymore like this. And I said, if you don't, this is a true story. If I don't make you the money back, I will pay you back every single penny and then I'll double it. I just need you to give me this opportunity.
Do you have that money to pay back?
No.
Oh my God.
Not at all. Yeah, I had no way to pay it back. There's no way I could pay double. The only choice I had was to fucking win. And guess what? I fucking won. 123 leads in a day. They called me back the second day, said we have another gym in San Jose. Boom. That 2 locations turned into over 300.
Wow.
And then I started working. Now, that was like fast forward, but 300, and that's when I really started hiring and like building a team and things like that.
Totally. And I think it's really cool because the people that you have here, and when I walked in, this is something that I mentioned and really is a testament to you. A lot of the people that are here have been with you a long time. So a big question that I'm asked all the time is like that team building aspect, because we both were talking about this earlier. It's hard when you're in solopreneur phase because you're like, okay, cool, I've done it, I built a business, I'm getting revenue in, but like I have no life and I can't do all of the things in my business.
This is huge. I'm glad you're asking me about this. This is a lesson for everybody who's in a solopreneur phase, and it's probably the most valuable thing I can give today. And it's a mental thing, and it goes like this. Most entrepreneurs, when you're solo, you put everything in your business. You sacrifice your life, you sacrifice your friends, you sacrifice your happiness maybe temporarily. You're failing, you're getting beat up, your friends are talking shit behind your back about how you're not doing. There's so much negativity that comes, and sometimes it can last for years. So when you finally break through and you're making enough money to support yourself and live the lifestyle that you achieved, the idea of hiring someone else feels visceral. Like it's like, I just worked so hard and now I'm gonna give you my money? Are you crazy? And when I give you money, you can't even do what I do. You're not even as good as this, and da-da-da. And you built this quick resentment for that person. And here's what people don't talk about is, just like when you start your company, you have to invest a lot and like take time. You have to make another investment into your team. And a lot of people never jump because they're unwilling because they were so tired from the first attempt. But the truth is, if you really want to grow your business, a team is not optional. It just comes to a point where you have to do it. And it could be a painful process. So what happens is, where a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck is you say, okay, fine, I'm gonna try the hiring thing. When you're solo, you are doing most of the sales. But what happens is, once you start to hike the sales up, now you have to fulfill on whatever you're selling. When you jump to the fulfillment side, you lost sight of the sales. So you keep running in this hamster wheel of sales fulfillment, and you never get out of it. And some people, matter of fact, most business owners who do survive, they stay in that rut for 20 to 30 years. And so you have to make the conscious decision to say, I'm gonna hire someone to do this. They're not gonna be as good as me. But the way to make that process smoother is to have clarity and repeatable processes. most of the time when it's hard to hire someone and have them do a good job, it's because your business involves too much customization where like you need a lot of superpowers to execute. So for example, like a lot of marketing agencies, they'll have video services, website design, Facebook ads, blogging. All of those things require different jobs and a different skill set. Now you've been doing your entrepreneur thing for a while, so you can do like 10 jobs in one. But the next person you hire, it would be silly to have that same expectation. So when you bring someone on, you need to have in mind exactly that one thing that they're going to do.
Master.
And that's what really makes the hiring process easier. But you gotta have that clarity. You gotta choose the business that you're in before you can really grow.
Totally, and I think it's easy to look at someone, P.S., water. Is that water?
It is,
I just want to make that clear. I am drinking water. It looks like I'm not.
Made me drink alcohol.
No.
She's a horrible person. And it was just, I did not want to, and here I am.
Here we are, everyone.
Damn it.
Peer pressure, sorry.
At its finest.
So a lot of people look at someone like you, or any of the big names in the industry, Gary Vaynerchuk, Lewis Howes, Marie Forleo, all of them. We look at them and they're like, it's one person. It's one person. That one person is running the show.
Said no successful person ever, right?
And I always say this, I'm like, have you ever seen any corporation that is run by one individual? No. It's not
You know
possible.
what's funny? Grant Cardone, he sat in that chair that you were sitting in too. And he was sitting here and I asked him about like the whole thing of like solopreneur, and he said, solopreneur? There's no such thing as solopreneur, you're just not in business yet.
Ooh, it's true though.
It hurts.
True.
It hurts because when you're solopreneur, you're so proud. You're so proud of like where you're at, but he's right. When you really start going, it's impossible to run it. So you can immediately, when someone identifies super hard with solopreneur, I know what stage of business they're in. It doesn't make them a bad person, but I know exactly where they're at. Yeah. I know where they're at.
And a little round of applause for the solopreneurs because it's hard.
Big round of applause.
A big round. It's hard.
Part. Like,
that's the hardest part.
Man, there's a, you know, like, so like Gary Vee, shout out, I'm a big fan. Paid a lot of money, go to his office, learn from the day, met his team and shit. Like, killer, amazing what they do. But nothing makes me more upset than when like I hear him telling his story and he always says like, I took over and it's not his fault, like it's a good thing. He was in this situation, but he said, I took over my dad's wine shop, which was only doing $3 million a year, and then I boosted it to 60. The hard part is the $0 to $1,000 a month. Like that's the whole game. So I get so irritated when I hear that narrative and then hear the narrative behind hustle, hustle, hustle. Now granted, that doesn't discredit what he's created and what he's done, but please stop because the sacrifice that goes into that first 1,000 or whatever the fuck it is, it's on like a lot of people think that hard work is what you get there, but it's really sacrifice.
Oh yeah.
So on like, for example, New Year's, during New Year's, everybody talks about like, what's going to be like the new habit that I create or whatever. It shouldn't be about new habit. It's what's the things you're choosing to give up to gain something else. That's what your focus should be on, because that's the hard part.
Absolutely. And I think, I really appreciate that point. And I'm a huge Gary Vaynerchuk fan as well. And I think it's important to really go into that piece of the hard work because it looks so glamorized. It looks so glamorized. And like, you know, people look at you, you got your blue Ferrari, it's awesome. But it's taken a lot of sacrifice to get there. So talk through, you know, some of the sacrifices that you've had to make to get to this stage now. And are you still continuing at this point to make sacrifices?
Twofold question. So I'll get to like what are the sacrifices now? The sacrifices then it starts like little things like choosing to face embarrassment and, you know, having to eat your ego. And it's kind of sounds like a weird sacrifice, but like really you're truly eating shit and you have nothing to show for it. So like when people say something to you, you can't even be like, well, you don't have anything. Like you just have the things that you say you're going to do, which is virtually nothing. Other sacrifices are friends. Like you miss weddings, you miss birthdays, you will lose relationships. A lot of people don't talk about that because they always try and glamorize entrepreneurship and make it seem so sexy. But you're gonna lose things. Also too, entrepreneurship in the beginning stages, it requires a disgusting amount of selfishness. And it's okay to be selfish because you're ultimately sacrificing to build a foundation so that you can stand on that foundation to help the ones you love and you care about. But there's a period of time where like you can barely help yourself. So I lost a lot of friends that I don't fuck with anymore. That whole you're average of the 5 people you hang out with, like, please take that to heart. Everybody's heard that quote a million times, but then you still kick it with the same clowns. Just ask yourself, like, what would life be like if you hung out with the people who were living the lifestyle that you wanted versus the people who are talking about having it? Their actions are different. Their mindset is different. You can tell everything you need to know about somebody by their conversations. If I meet somebody, first thing they're doing is talking about other motherfuckers. I'm like, no. Yeah, I know where you're at.
Yeah.
You know? Other sacrifices now, I was telling Sunny this earlier, is like, my business became, through that sacrifice and that journey, my whole entire identity.
This is so important.
And like, there was no life outside of it. It was just like, everything revolved around the business. And then as you kind of get more stable, like one of my mentors, Jim Bunch, he talks about this essential model of humans. And at the bottom of the pyramid, imagine a pyramid, a triangle with 3 slices. At the bottom are needs. When someone's in the needs phase, they're only worried about survival, making enough money to get by, and most of people in the world, they stay there. Once you graduate past the need, you go into the want section. And the want section is like, I want the cars and a house and vacations or whatever there. And then once you hit that, you go to the value section. Very few people ever hit the value section. And what happened with me, as we're talking about now, is I did the needs thing. Then I hit the wants. I have a Ferrari, a Bentley, a Tesla, a fucking penthouse, an office with like 27 people. We're building out a custom studio, spoken on all the stages I want to, and have all the badass entrepreneurs on my cell. That's not to brag, that's to give you guys perspective. And I'm here, I would wake up feeling more depressed than I ever have in my life.
Wow.
And people, it's hard to talk about because people go, look at my life and they go, are you kidding me, man? You got people asking you for pictures, like they say all this shit. But I just felt empty because I didn't get clarity on my values. And I was living a life where I was doing all the cool things, but I wasn't being fulfilled. Success is different than fulfillment. And you realize, ironically, the whole trick with this pyramid is you can find fulfillment even at the basic level. That's why you can go to like other countries and deal with the indigenous people who are like the happiest people on the planet. I don't know, it's a whole different thing. I don't want to go like too sidetracked, but like,
I relate
it's
to
real.
this, and I relate to this so much, and I've talked about it a lot recently, because it is a really weird thing. You get to this place that you've always dreamed of, you hit the number that you've always dreamed of in the business, and I now have a team around me, and I, have the biggest community I've ever had, and on paper and from an external place, looks like life is really, really good. Never been more anxious in my entire life than I had been this year. Had the best year in the business, never had more anxiety. And for me, how I put it now is like, I think that's so true. It's just like redefining what your value is, because money has never been the thing for me. Like, I've never been motivated by money or by things, but I'm at a place now where I feel like I've done the money thing. Like, I feel like I'm okay, but that's not making me happy. And my head has been so down and so in the business that when I came up to breathe and I was like, you know what, I can breathe now. Like, I have a bit of freedom. I was like, but who am I and what do I really want in my life?
Who am I? Wow.
Who am I?
It's so real. Like, Lori Harder, I had a great conversation with her. She's a badass.
She was just on the show. Yeah.
Was she?
Yeah.
Oh, well, shout out, you should watch Lori's episode. She's great. And I'm sitting with her just a few weekends ago up at Lewis's thing. And I told her this. I was like, yo, I'm in this spot of like, I just feel like I'm not happy. Like, it's really fucked up. And I just recently went through a breakup, which is a whole fucking different thing. So you get to this point where I thought giving would bring me happiness. I thought that giving to my team would make me happy. I thought that giving my daughter all these choices would make me happy, and taking care of my parents would make me happy. It was all like the students in our community and teaching and impacting that would make me happy. And to an extent, it does. Lori brought up a good example. She says, great, Billie, imagine you're like a jug of water and you're just pouring into other people. You're pouring. Eventually, when you pour so much, what happens? You get empty. And I felt this like emptiness of like, holy shit, everyone in my life is like, I'm pouring into. Who's pouring into Billie?
What do you
What is Billie? What is Billie doing? How is Billie being happy? And so I'm like, looking around, I'm like, damn, I don't really have anybody who's like on me. And so I was like, that's why I'm feeling so empty. And so I just made a plan. I was like, I need to just commit to like finding ways to make me happy and like finding, and I didn't know because for so long it was just business.
Yeah.
So finding new happiness, they're like, what do you like to do? Do you have hobbies? I'm like, no, motherfucker. Business was my hobby, right? Like,
yeah, and it becomes your whole identity. So let's talk about that. What are the things that you're discovering that make you happy?
Well, so there was the other fucked up part, is before I was in a relationship, and I've been in San Diego my whole life, it's always been partying. Like I was a partier, like we go to the clubs and popping bottles and just chasing girls and like all these really destructive habits.
Yeah.
And so now I'm trying to find myself and I'm like, I don't even know how to create that happiness outside of the destructive habits that I had before.
Right.
So I'm in the process of discovering that right now of like, whew, Billie, what's my thing? Now, luckily I have my daughter, and my daughter is that constant of like, this is my thing, like being with her. But then even outside of that, it's like, I don't really know.
That's really, really interesting. Because I feel like, you know, I feel like I've gone through something similar this year, and it just is, it's fascinating because, again, from the outside, it looks like things are going so well, and they are, and I'm so grateful, as I'm sure you are, for all of the good things in your life. But it is about getting your head up and out of your business and out of that really selfish place and being like, okay, cool. Let's go back to what makes me happy outside of this, because this thing is not going to make me happy for the rest of my life. And for me, work became my husband. Work became my boyfriend for like years. And I found my worth and my value in work.
Wow.
And so trying to separate the two and really figuring out what my value was outside of that. And I talked about this in a YouTube video recently. I was like, I burnt out really badly in the summer because I was giving, same thing. Yeah. And it does make me happy to a certain extent, but the moment I had to take the mask, taking care of me, the moment I took the mask off and did this video, and I was just like, you know, I burnt out, I wanna be honest about this because it's such an epidemic. And when I did that video, the amount of entrepreneurs who reached out to me privately and were like, been there, was in the hospital too, totally get it. And I lost sight of who I am and what I want in the mix of it because I was giving so much all the time, and it was terrifying for me to talk about anything else other than just educating people.
Wow.
Because if I educate you, you can't dislike me. You can't say something mean. So what I've really been honing in on and discovering in the last year, and I read a really good book on it recently, and I'm totally blanking on the name, but I'll put it in the notes. It was about the fact that we all have an inner critic, and we all also have an inner mentor. And that inner critic is really speaking the things that people may be saying externally that you're so afraid to hear.
Wow.
And it's not you. You have this mentor that like 10 years from now you want to become, and that's the person you want to be listening to on a daily basis. But I was listening to that inner critic for so long that was like, you're not worth anything unless you're providing value.
Woo.
So
That's
didn't
real.
expect this was going to go here, but hey, this is what happens. This tends to happen on every
what have
episode.
You found out since like having that moment about yourself, like
really like just breathing and understanding that like this business is
being aware of it, right?
Being aware of it, being aware of the critic, so now you can like name it. And like, so you hear the critic of being like, you know,
shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I hear you, and you shouldn't be, or like you shouldn't be doing this, or who are you to be doing this? Because there's other things that I want to be talking about outside of YouTube or online marketing. Like this was never the game that I wanted to get into. I love it. I love helping people. I've helped so many people leveraging the power of YouTube, but I have big plans for what I want to do and the impact I want to make. But this little critic in my head is like, no, stay in your lane, do your thing. Only talk about this. Don't talk about anything else.
It's so funny listening to this. I appreciate you sharing this, and like I'm vibing with it because I think we get each other on this. But no matter what level you're playing the game at, it's always mental. It's always mental. But I definitely encourage you guys to find ways early that you're getting filled up as a person, because like it's just kind of the role, especially like as you grow a team. Like when you grow a team, like you're kind of the leader and you're responsible. So like just from the dynamic of the relationship, usually it's like you're always checking on them. You're always making sure it's okay. You almost never get a call that says, are you okay? Yeah. And you can't have resentment for that. You have to realize that's what you signed up for, and don't hold any malice for it, but like know that's what it comes, and find other ways to make sure that you're being taken care of. Because if you're only giving to someone because you're expecting something in return, you're gonna live a really unhappy life. You know?
And I think, 100% that piece of it, and then also within the space that we're in, and anybody nowadays, because everybody is on social media, like if you put too much weight in either the critic or the mentor or the positive or the negative, you're hooped.
Yeah.
It's getting to a place where you know yourself well enough to be like, I don't need the feedback that's positive, and I also don't need the feedback that's negative.
Ooh.
And that neither one can shift you. And I think that's where you get to a place of true success, is really knowing who the F you are. And that's the hardest thing in the world.
She said who the fuck you are. Which is sad for you in here.
I don't throw that often here, but
out.
we are now. But I think like that's really what I've been discovering. And so and for me, so maybe this will be helpful for you, I don't know. But for me, what I went back to was like, what did I enjoy doing before I had a business? What did I enjoy doing when I was a kid? And for me, that was like I love to dance. I've danced my whole life. So like,
did you really?
Oh yeah.
You know, today, what kind of dance?
Everything. I was ballerina for a really long time.
You
I
do
did
hip-hop
jazz.
classes?
I love hip hop.
Funny. So Wednesdays,
Yeah.
me and Ashley, who is actually how we connected, and then she started working here. We dance. We do a hip hop class.
No way.
Yeah, we do. I actually have a private instructor. Shout out to Jamie. And
That's
like we
awesome.
go there. So there's like 4 of us, and we go and we just fucking
And
dance
it's
for like an hour and a half.
fun.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah, and I think one of the things about like really reconnecting to who you are outside of the business, and this is something that I've really realized about myself, is,
That's funny, you
is
dance.
movement.
Right.
And dance is a big part of it. It's reconnecting to your body as opposed to just staying up here all the time, which is where you have to stay a lot of times. as an
Also,
entrepreneur.
too, nature is very easy to lose sight of too, and how it make you feel. Like, especially being this online, there's probably a lot of people listening today. You're an online entrepreneur, which means you're inside technically a lot. That's something I've been trying to do, like in the mornings, just like I've really enjoyed. I had a dog walker for quite some time, and that was just to maximize time. But then I realized I enjoy that time, and I've refound this out, like walking my dog lately, like being outside, like just changing your physical environment will go a long way. So find ways to get outside and like
Silence and having time to just be silent, not on your phone, not in it
Yes.
all the time. Because it makes it seem, if you're in it all the time and you're constantly looking at the good, bad, the ugly of your business, it makes it seem like it's a lot bigger
That's
deal.
what my daughter forced me to do, is like, because when I'm with her, I don't really fuck with my phone.
Yeah.
And it's allowed me to like reconnect to just those moments and like be way more present. And that was the only thing that I would stop using my phone for, which was a problem in a lot of ways. It affected a lot of things, so.
Very interesting stuff. This went a really, really deep, and I'm so okay with it. So I thank you for being so honest about all of that. I think it's really important to share that piece of it
This was a little different than the one we just did.
Right, a little different. But I do want to talk tactics too, because you are the Facebook ads guru and YouTube ads, and that's how you built this big business. So let's dive into some tactics at this point in 2018. What can the audience be doing if they do have a business when it comes to ads? Because I also think there's a little bit of hesitation, especially with my audience, they talk about organic so much, with spending money on ads. So let's talk through that.
First of all, you need both, okay? To give perspective before I go into my ad stuff, and I'm really passionate about advertising and what it can bring you. But I'm so hardcore like ads that like I was ignoring our website to the point where like we shut it down for a little bit because like I just didn't feel like changing. I was like, fuck it, I don't even care. I don't even have anything up. And then recently, one of our marketing managers is like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? We gotta have our website up, and he's like an SEO background. So we put it up, and like in the first week that we put it back up, we made like 16 grand in sales just from people coming to the website and searching us in the organic thing. I'm like, oh God, how much money were we losing this whole time? I was ignoring it. So, you know, everything that Sunny teaches is real shit, and I like listening to it because it's a reminder to me like, damn, we need to also be exercising that while advertising. The challenge with advertising and the opportunity is that it's fast. It's fucking fast. Like, if you guys right now are listening to this and the only thing stopping you from getting to where you want to get financially is just having more customers, there's no faster way on the planet than to get it with advertising. But the reason why most people are afraid of advertising is because you have to spend money.
Spend money to make money.
But I just want to change your perspective on that. Usually, let's say like, I'll start with a small amount. Let's say I spend $100 today in advertising. But then, by the end of today, I make $300 in sales. Did I really spend money? Or did I get paid to show my ads to people? That switch, you have to understand that. And when you do that, if you spend $100 a day for 30 days, now you just spent $3 grand a month in advertising. You're like, oh shit, that's a nice little budget. Like, but I don't have $3 grand. What happens is traditional media has kind of got everybody screwed up. Traditional media, if you want to go advertise on like a billboard right now or do radio, they're going to require you to pay X amount up front. And then you kind of cross your fingers and you hope that you make it back. That's not how it goes with social media advertising. You literally can see how much you're spending at any given time, and you can press pause at any given time. So if you spend the first 25 bucks out of that 100 bucks and you're not seeing any action, turn it off and try something new. It's complete control. And then what happens is you realize if you can flip 100 bucks into 300 bucks in a day, well, what would happen if I spent $10,000 in a day? Can I turn it into 30 grand in a day? And that's what we're doing right now. And so a lot of people get afraid of the money, but the money, it's like, whether it's $1 into 3, 10 into 30, 100 into 300, it is what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
But it's the fast way. And here's what I like about it too. When you're advertising on social media, you control the message 1,000% and exactly who sees it. When you're organic, your audience could be built from anybody, like who's ever finding you. Most of the people only find you if it's relevant to them. But I can say right now, I only want to show my ads to men or women 30 to 45 who listen to Gary Vaynerchuk and watch Grant Cardone and who go to Tony Robbins events, that live in these zip codes, that make $100,000. So our advertisements in the last 2 years, 18 months, have been viewed over 200 million times. Now, that's cool, but what's cooler about that is that's 200 million entrepreneurs who are highly targeted.
Yes.
They're people who we all would potentially want to know us and buy our products. And because our ads have been seen so much, that's what's been the opportunity, because when you're recognizable or people are familiar with your brand, that's when you make the most sales, create the most trust, etc. That's what's gotten me on so many stages and podcasts and gotten me to meet really cool people like Sunny, and it's just that. So most of the time in your industry, for you to generate the sales and to get the attention, you just need to be the most well-known.
Absolutely.
You realize that Kim Kardashian, she's just the most well-known person on the planet.
Yep.
And you know why? Because it all comes down to distribution. And distribution just means who controls the eyeballs. So when we run an advertisement, the first thing that we do is we always collect someone's email and their phone number. So right now, this second, if I want to text message 130,000 people and email 200,000 people, highly targeted people, I can do that right now this second. When you have that kind of on-demand reach, that means you can make offers on demand, which leads to sales. So right now I can say, hey, me and Sunny are having a mastermind in San Diego at this location. I can post that right now this second. I guarantee you I'll make 10 to 20 grand. Like I'm not kidding, in 30 to 45 minutes. And we can have dinner and get paid to do it. Because we have the following, the audience. And that's what Sunny's done a really good job of too, is building the audience. Now, the downside when you spend money on the advertisements is the ads only show up to people when you want them to show up. They don't live anywhere. So once I stop advertising, they're gone. You can't just search and find our advertisements. So people look at us and our social, I think we got 50,000 likes on Facebook, 20,000 subscribers on Instagram and YouTube. It's hella small. And people go, what the fuck? How are you so small? Because we're invisible. Our posts are only seen when we want people to see. So everyone knows us, but we don't have the social following to leverage with that. So that's what I mean by you need the combination of the organic where your content's living and the advertisements. And that's something that we've been practicing is, all right, let's get our social game up now.
Yeah, and I think even on the organic side, it's very similar to what you just said too. And I think this is a really important point to drive home. And you've heard me talk about this before, but I just want to mention it again. With something like YouTube, I am never going to tell people to go general with their strategy, because what we want you to do is become that celebrity within your industry. We want you to be the most known person within your niche, because then you become the only person people want to work with. So on YouTube, you're only targeting keywords and making videos on topics that your ideal customers would be searching for, because then anytime they search for any kind of topic, i.e. Facebook ads, on YouTube or YouTube ads, they want to see your face. And they're going to keep saying your face over and over and over again. And when that happens, you become the only option. So that's the beauty of both sides and doing it in a very strategic way.
And what I love about YouTube advertising from a branding perspective, on YouTube ads, we use what's called in-stream ads, which are basically those ads that show up and you got 5 seconds to skip them. On Facebook, when you run a video ad, people can scroll through and they can kind of ignore you, But when they see you on YouTube, they can't skip you. They are forced to see you. And so for us as a brand, it is the best thing for us in regards to being recognized. So now, virtually every single time that I go out, I'm recognized by someone, pretty much every time. And it's all because they saw our fucking ads. That doesn't make me so cool. It just means I spent more money than anyone. And some people go, hey, you spent money. No, dude, let me rephrase. I made millions of dollars to build a brand.
Totally.
And that's what people don't get. They see it as an expense. When you understand advertising is not an expense, it's a
investment.
fucking investment in an asset, that's when you dominate the game.
Totally. On that note, spending millions of dollars, reaching millions of people. Like we talked about earlier, it's not just you. So let's walk through like the business model, kind of how this works. And I was actually just talking to your team when you were downstairs. I was saying like, okay, so how does it work? So you've built up Billie Jean as marketing, and then there's the agency side of things. Does everything flow through your personal brand?
So everything flows through Billie Jean as marketing, and for years I solely did agency work.
Right.
Meaning people gave me money and my job was to run advertisements like the ones I'm describing to bring them customers. So just like doctors will always make a shitload of money because they save lives, lawyers will always make a shitload of money because they can get you out of jail. Well, lead generators will always make a shitload of money because you are the blood source to businesses. Without customers, they don't exist. So for a long time, I loved my business. I would just run advertisements and people would pay me month after month after month because without me, they didn't really survive. And then people started saying, well, shit, you can't learn this stuff in school. So what are you doing? And that's how I got into the teaching side of it all. Shit, where was I going with this?
So how you became a personal brand, because I think this is interesting. How you went from an agency, kind of behind the scenes a little bit, doing this for how many years?
3 or 4.
Without actually having the brand.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was Billie Jean as marketing, but I didn't like have a website, a page. It was just like, that was the name of our company, and I just wanted brands to remember me. And we've worked with some of the largest franchises in the world, from your Dave & Buster's to your Kias to your Orange Theory Fitnesses to Massage Envies to like all kinds of shit, right? And then when I started doing the education thing and teaching people how to do what we've created, that's when the brand really became a thing. And when I was an agency, people still recognized me as the marketing guy, so I was totally cool with them still recognizing me as the marketing guy, but now you have this option to learn from the marketing guy because they got to see like the agency progression.
And I just want to drive this point home. I actually would like to stand up, but I think I'll go out of frame. You did not start teaching anything or building a fucking personal brand until after you knew what you were doing.
I will stand up with you.
Okay.
It's some bullshit. Like really, like that's why I laugh now. Like when I see these like educators like come out and they're trying to fucking start a course and they've done that one thing one time, if they've done it at all. I'm like, bro, we've done this for years. This is what we do, and that's why we've been so successful in the teaching space, because everything that we teach is from real experiences and real companies and things. So when people would see our shit and I'm like, here, I'm just gonna give you the exact ads we use for these companies, no one was able to compete with us. So from like a values-driven point, we could just crush everybody because we just had more real-life case studies, and even still today, that's our thing. So even though we're like focused primarily as an education source for people, we still will always have agency work that we always do forever because that's how we stay ahead of the game.
Yes, it's so important. And I was talking about this earlier too, that, you know, if it was just me who had built this channel, and that was it, that was my only case study, I would not feel right about teaching this
100%.
at all. But I now have thousands of people who have come through courses or been a client of mine. I had a consultancy for 5 years with no following. I did not care about social media. I didn't want to be on social media. I accidentally fell into YouTube. You probably know that story. And so I did the work first before I ever talked about it. And I think this is something that it needs to be really honed in on.
Let me even go deeper into that. The work starts with your education.
Yes.
So for example, think about perspective-wise. Going back to the doctor thing, how long does a doctor go to school for?
Like 8 years, isn't it?
8 years, and then they do residency. It can end up being 12 years. How much money would they invest over that time?
Oh, I don't even know.
Like $300,000. $300,000, 12 years to start off with a salary of probably making about $150K a year. So they're investing their time, just like attorneys do, 6-year period, and they have to like actually work under somebody for a while. Even a police officer, first 2 years you're on beat, you gotta travel with somebody. Only in the fucking world of entrepreneurship can someone fucking buy a course and then in 3 weeks think you have the balls and the skill set to dare go out and teach anybody anything. Entrepreneurs are joke to me because you're so unwilling, because you saw one episode of Shark Tank, to invest into actually becoming great at something. So people always ask me, like, what's the key to success? Learn a skill set, the ability to do something that others cannot or will not do. If you can truly own that and become a master at it, you will always have a way to make money. The end of conversation.
And if you want to be your own boss, and a lot of people here are newbie entrepreneurs or want to be entrepreneurs, that's totally fine. There's nothing against that. The only thing that I do want to say is exactly what you just said. You have to start by learning. You can't start by self-proclaiming you're the YouTube expert or you're the ads expert without any experience behind you.
So much.
Happens all the time. Happens all the time. I have a lot of people who've taken my courses and all of a sudden flip it around in 2 weeks and be like, okay, I know how to do YouTube, and I'm going to work with X, Y, and Z.
It's crazy.
You got to do the work. You got to have case studies. You got to have proof behind you.
You know what? It goes like this. Treat others how you want to be treated.
Yes.
Would you ever want a doctor to perform on your child open heart surgery if all they did was go to 3 classes in med school? You'd be like, are you crazy? Don't go, man. And you would sue the hospital and everything else. But that's what you're doing to businesses.
Yeah. Ooh, we're just gonna stop it right there because that was, yep. So if you're just starting out, again, no shade. This is nothing against you. It just means it's time to start
She's
investing.
not throwing shade. I'm definitely throwing shade.
It's time.
In a lovable way.
In a lovable way.
Yeah.
It's just time to start investing. If you want an actual tip of what you should be doing, if you want to build a business, do the work. Start getting testimonials, start getting case studies, start working with people, start exercising your expertise. Make the mistakes because you're going to screw up. Yeah. It's guaranteed.
My whole business was going off case studies. Actually doing it every single
Which is
piece
really,
of it.
really important. Okay, so we're going to do the speed round now.
Okay.
I have my questions right here. All right. Not one word answer. It's just as fast as you can answer them, okay? So
Penis.
Gut.
Did I get it right?
Nailed it.
Got it.
Gut reaction. All right. Best business book every entrepreneur should read.
Scaling Up by Verne Harnish, but it's not for beginners. It's like once you get momentum and you're building a company.
Do you have a beginner book?
Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell.
Perfect. What are your daily non-negotiables?
I suck. I probably don't really have any. I probably should have more.
We're gonna work on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, that's horrible. Like, I
stumped you.
You did.
Wow.
I don't really have any. I'm
That's okay.
bad at that.
That's okay. We're gonna work on that. Favorite kind of music to listen to when you work?
I'm a little hood sometimes, so I like some ratchet shit every now and then.
What do you consider ratchet shit?
You know, like anything that people would probably twerk to. Like I appreciate like just like fun music, like getting hype. It depends on what I'm doing though. Because then I'll also too, like I have Sonos in my house. So like when I wake up in the morning, I'm like checking emails and planning my day, talking to my sister. I'm like, Sonos or Alexa, play Michael Bublé. You know, so like I'll have that. But then like when in the office, I'm like, let's fucking turn up.
Yes.
Like, we listened to some hood shit this morning. Karen
What?
tell
Name
you.
an artist.
Tekashi 6ix9ine. This song called Billie. If you guys want to hear some just really fucking ratchet, it's not, but like it seems like it would. It's disgustingly ratchet.
I love it.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm gonna listen to that and put it in the notes as well. Best
Please do.
Best advice you've ever received from a mentor.
There's never a lack of resources, just a lack of resourcefulness. And when Kevin Harrington was also in the seat, Kevin Harrington was also on Shark Tank, one of the original seasons. He sold billions of dollars of products like George Foreman Grill and everything. People right now, I know a lot of your audience is thinking you can't get to where you want to go because you don't have the time or you don't have the money. And the truth is you just don't have the creativity. Because there's a lot of people with money. You can ask Sunny for money, you can ask me for money. And if you really found a creative way to sell it, you would have fucking money. It's that simple. When you own that truth, then you can start to change something. Until then, you will always be a little PAB. That stands for punk ass bitch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
PAB. Don't be a PAB.
What are the three main characteristics of a successful entrepreneur?
Creativity.
Yeah.
Salesman or woman. And the reason why I say that is because everyone's so afraid of sales, but the greatest entrepreneurs that you meet are fucking salesmen/women.
Yep.
Or saleswomen/men.
100%.
And then the third one, willing to sacrifice. They're
Perfect.
willing to eat shit more than anybody else, and that's it.
I love it. What is the biggest lie about online business?
That it's easy. It's simple.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's just, it's
No business is easy.
every online business, there's an ad that's like, the simple ways to do blank blank. It's just not easy at all. There's so much to learn. I think that's the probably biggest lie is how much you have to understand and be good at to actually be good at the thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
What are you most proud of in your business?
Probably our team.
What are you most proud of in your life?
My daughter.
Yeah. Okay,
Those are kind of whack answers though, because like.
No, they're good.
Like,
they're
but
fast.
they're just like, you know. Like,
They're good.
I would say
You want to
that.
get more creative with it?
Yeah, I think the team, because of, I think it's really cool to build some shit that a lot of people can reap the benefits from, and we genuinely have built something where we're changing lives. So to me, that's really cool. Well, knowing every single day, every time we make a sale, somebody has an opportunity to impact and empower themselves. You know what I mean?
love that.
And then my daughter, because of how difficult it's been for me to, especially since breaking up with my girl, like of being alone with my daughter, because you realize how much like she does, and it's really challenging. You have to have so much patience that I usually don't have. And so it's really been like, I'm proud of the way that I've learned to become a dad.
I'm proud of you too. That's awesome.
Thanks, Sunny D.
That's awesome. Okay, so my definition of being your own boss is showing up for yourself so you can show up for everything else, which we talked about a lot today. What is your definition of being your own boss?
I'm gonna go twofold on this.
Okay, let's do it.
I think there's too much glamorization, if that's a word,
Yes.
on being your own boss right now.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is, I think a boss can still be somebody who works within an organization.
100%. Agree.
You know what I mean?
Yep. I
And
talk
so
about that all
like,
the time.
I just think too many people right now, like, nothing kills me more than when like the narrative of like, you know, fire your boss, or like you're always gonna be working to build somebody else's dream. That quote specifically, I hate it, because if you're a really good boss, you understand how to build a dream with people. And you realize it's not your dream. It's a team collective, a little bit of her dream, a little bit of his dream, and you put it together and you build something amazing. But no one who's successful will ever tell you, like, will ever just put such a self-centered thing or title on that. You realize that your team is your everything, and you should treat them as such.
I love that. What was the second fold of that?
The second thing of that is the road to get to the point where you dream about being at is shitty, but it's worth it.
Okay, perfect. I love it. Obviously, people are going to see your ads everywhere, but is there somewhere specific that you want to send the bosses?
Yes, that was it. Subscribe to us on YouTube.
There we go.
Subscribe to us on YouTube so we can get better at the Sunny shit, which is the organic and the search and like all the things that we truly need to get better as an organization. So I appreciate it if you guys just subscribe to our channel. We upload videos all the time, really helpful shit that will help your business grow.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for being here.
Holla.
Any parting words?
Buy everything from Sunny that she has to offer, damn it. I'm talking, I don't give a fuck what you have to do. Invest into Sunny's products, her services, or your credit score will go down by 900 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap. If you enjoyed this interview as much as we did, please let me know with a like below, and be sure to comment with the hashtag Boss Club to enter to win a BYO Boss mug, some swag, or even a shout out in one of my videos. Speaking of that, our latest winner is Creative Living Lifestyles. She said, "Hey Sunny, amazing and fun video, interesting and energetic to say the least. Great job, hashtag Boss Club." Went on to say some awesome things about her own set and her own style. So congratulations to you. Keep up the great work on your channel. And if you want to enter to win, like I said, just comment with the hashtag Boss Club and a thoughtful comment. If you like the video, hit the like button below, share it with your fellow bosses who you think would benefit from hearing Billie's entrepreneurial journey, and be sure to subscribe for weekly videos on being your own boss and building your own life. And I will see you in the next video.